Hello, welcome to Power and Pounders Music Channel. I am your host, Koran Lategra. It is Tuesday, July the 1st, and yeah, it is July. The weather is like 100 degrees, it depends on where you are, but we're in Southern California. It's not too bad. Some places in California, it is out in the hundreds, but where I am, it's probably upper 70s, upper 80s, somewhere around in there. So hope everyone's doing well. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Be much appreciated. Well, my guest today, man, I tell you, this has been it's been a
Years.
almost probably longer than 2 years. We canceled, postponed, canceled. Even just last week, we had to reschedule for today.
Yeah, last week, yeah, a little wacky.
So I want to
We're
welcome
good.
Pete Ramos to PNP, man. What's up, bro?
Nothing much. Good to see you.
Oh man, it's
Wow.
good to have you, man. Pete, me and him, we used to work together at a former school, and
Yeah.
years ago, and we taught drums there and did all that good stuff. It was great. We had a good time. We just kept in touch, and I'm like, man, why don't you come on to the podcast here? So he took some time out of his busy playing teaching schedule, and he's got his kit back there, electronic kit. He may do some demonstration on the thing there. And I just want to know where that shirt come from.
Oh, yeah. Wow. I love this shirt. Yeah, I wonder who gave me this shirt.
Boy,
That's a really hip shirt.
yeah,
I wear it loud and proud. Proud to represent.
that looks like my background shirt.
Exactly. It's 100% your background shirt.
Well, I
Wow.
appreciate you.
B&P, Power and Pounders.
I appreciate you promoting the shirt, man.
Oh,
I
yeah.
appreciate it.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah, I've had the shirt for a minute. I've got several compliments over the years on it.
That's
Yeah.
good, man. I'm
People
sure
ask me where I got it.
I'm sure you had to dust it off the closet,
Yeah, I've had it for a number of years.
I'm sure you had to get one of those lint dusters off,
I've had this for years. I just take good care of it.
Well, I appreciate you with it, man. That means a
Yeah,
lot.
for sure.
So man, I just wanted to kind of go back briefly, how it all started with you holding the sticks and sitting behind that drum kit there. What did it all begin?
Oh, geez. I started kind of late in drum life, as we say. I started like I was 13. My cousin Steven always played. He had drums because he grew up in Encino, and across the street from him there was this neighbor named Ed. And Ed's really good friend was this really great studio drummer named Nick Vincent. Really popular guys, played with the Pixies, a lot of sessions. He did some Muppet work as Animal for a while. A lot of records, played with Frank Black from the Pixies. He was the Osmonds drummer when we were kids on TV.
Okay.
A really cool cat, just like, when you're a little kid and you see drums and it's like, and then this guy was cooler and cool, his cool LA studio cat attitude. I was like enthralled with it. And what he did one time is sold Steve, Nick Vincent sold Steve some drums, these really cool Rogers. I don't know if you ever remember the Rogers drums.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
Really great kid. So Steven was a natural and just really badass. And I used to be intimidated because, he's a little bit older than me. And he was just, right away, he got it. And then he would teach me, and I would just kind of like, then, I got a little better. And then I got my own kit when I was about 13, a CB700.
Okay.
Remember those?
Okay.
Those CB700.
Yeah.
And then I just got into it and just started practicing. I took formal lessons, and I just got into it. And then when I was 14, 15, I was in high school, and right away, joined up with some dudes in high school and started bands and played in bands all through high school.
Okay.
The parties on Friday and Saturday,
Yeah.
all those, teen event centers, community centers, anywhere we could play. Played a lot. Really great. We had a lot of fun. And I just practiced. And then when I got out of high school, I went straight to UCLA because I wanted to get a degree in like communications, probably get a law degree like my dad, and I was going to be a sports agent. But what I used to do through high school and through college was do extra work. I was in SAG, so I got paid. I was in the union, so I got paid really, really well. Like a day of work on a commercial was like 360. And I'm like 16, 17, 18 making this money. When I
Okay.
got to UCLA, I started missing classes because I would take commercials and make like $1,000 in 3 days. And then I don't know if you know this, when you're in college and you start missing classes, your grades start to shift. And one time I was on the set, just this TV show, and one of the dudes there, really cool guy, his name was Captain Kirk. He called himself, a really cool guy named Kirk. You know, long hair, he's older than me. I thought he was really cool. He'd bring his little practice pad to the set because we always, you know, in a Hollywood production, there's always downtime, especially for the extras. You get paid for sitting around and eating craft service. And Kurt would always just shred on his pad in his hand. And he had been in marching band in high school, and he'd do all this cool. I'm like, dang, dude. And he would teach me some rudiments and stuff like that. But back then, I would just go like that. He would do,
Oh, okay.
you know, all that fancy.
Yeah, all the
stuff.
marching stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was really cool. I was pretty enthralled with it, you know, all this stuff and stick picks, and, you know, playing like that. I'm like, why the, you know, I'd seen the old Jazz Cats whole traditional.
Yeah.
And then what he said to me one day, and I kept missing classes, and you know, I'm like, gosh, I had to turn down work to get my grades up because you slay, don't play, man. You miss a couple classes, you're gonna fall behind the pack. So one day, Kurt's like, hey Pete, do you know there's a school here in Hollywood, just down the block, where it's all drums? And he was talking about MI, Musicians Institute, MI. Specifically, he was talking about PIT, Percussion Institute of Technology. He's like, man, it's a year. You get to, like, Jeff Piccaro's dad's teaching there, and Jeff was one of my heroes. Still is to this day. Still is. You know, Jeff from Toto.
Yeah.
Just knock dead. One of my favorite drummers. Just knocked down. Just nailed every session. So he goes, yeah, Jeff's dad's teaching over there, Joe Piccaro. And I'm like, oh, rad. And he's like, plus they'll teach you Latin, you'll learn some jazz, you'll learn how to read, you play with different people. And so I'm like, wow, I was just enthralled with that. So I came home one day and I told my parents I wanted to drop out of UCLA and go to the music school in Hollywood. And my dad was, you know, kind of upset. He's very, lawyer, never messed around as a teenager, was in the Marines, had a family, a good lawyer. He's like, oh, you and all those red-eyed musicians with your red eyes. And,
Typical parents.
Yes, but my mom was more liberal, or she still is more liberal.
Yeah.
She's an English professor. She's like, oh, yeah, if you want to take some time away from UCLA and go there, fine. And finally, my dad came around. He's like, oh, all right, And then I was lucky, got some Cal grants, and I went to PIT in 1988.
Okay.
October of '88, and had a great time there. Studied with some fantastic teachers, besides Joe Piccaro. I studied with like Richie Gajate Garcia, phenomenal Latin player. He's played with Phil Collins and Diana Ross, and he was a great Latin teacher. He and I became really good friends, and studied jazz with Joe Brancato, Big Joe. He and I became friends, and learned how to read. And I applied myself big time and made the honor roll. To make the honor roll, there's tests January, because you start in October. There's tests in January, April, July, and then the end of September, and then you graduate.
Okay.
And you have to get a 95 or higher. You can't even get a 94 one time. So I just applied myself and to make the honor roll. I really wanted to make.
This is at PIT?
Yeah. So
wow.
You had to get 95 and above on all 4-quarter tests. Because I really had in my heart, I'm like, I want to make the honor roll, Plus I'm like a sponge. I wanted to absorb as many styles, as many, cool, grooves from all these different genres, and learn how to read, get my reading chops going. I made the honor roll. So I was really, really stoked about that.
So what have you failed the test? Then what?
Then I wouldn't make the honor roll.
What if you made like an 80?
Then you're not on the honor roll.
Well, okay. So
you still get your certificate.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I
Which is,
mean. Even if you didn't make
oh
that
no,
show.
you absolutely get your certificate.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So
But
you
I wanted the with honors sticker.
yeah, you
I wanted to really apply myself.
yeah,
Since I was allowed to leave UCLA,
okay.
and to go over there, I wanted to show them. Well, at least I applied myself. Some kids just went there and smoked weed and just
Yeah,
jammed. The
yeah.
parents had money. They sent them there for a
It's
year.
like, no, man, I'm a rock drummer, man. I don't
Yeah,
need to
bro.
be
Yeah, all
I don't
this.
need to be on the honor roll, man. I just want to rock.
Yeah. So yeah, I got it, and then that was 19 October of '89. And after that, I took like 6 months off. Went out to Arizona with a bass player friend who was from BIT, and I lived out there. And he and I got, playing together, and came back into LA and played in a number of bands together. And then through that, I had met this keyboardist named Mitch Baker. He did sessions and played at all the clubs and stuff. And I got in drumming for him. He'd send me out on demos to play live with people. Like I played with, like Ringo Starr's daughter was a singer for a minute. She probably still sings, but
Yeah,
played with her at some club dates and a lot of, demo work for rock bands. When the drummer, I'm talking in the '90s when
yeah,
metal was just about to end and grunge was coming in,
yeah.
but record labels were signing the next Nirvana, the next Guns N' Roses
Oh
all the
yeah,
time.
Pearl
And,
Jam.
bands have the drummer that looked the part, with the cool long hair and the hairspray. But the drummer, he looked the part, but a lot of these demos, he wasn't that good. So I became what was known as a ghost drummer.
Okay,
So that the dudes working on the demo in the band would say, "Hey, can you just come in here and play drums?
yeah,
You don't get no credit. Paid
yeah, yeah,
cash
yeah.
out each day." And
And
so I
this was
did that for a
before.
long time. I was, one time I was in there playing for some, I forget the name of them. I don't know if they got. So I never really kept in contact afterwards to see if they got signed or this or. But some bands did get signed because I'd seen them. But this one time I was in there playing drums, and the drummer was out in front talking to these chicks. He had some chicks come out. He was in it to hang at the studio in Hollywood, and it was kind of funny because they're asking, "Well, why is that guy playing drums?"
Yeah,
But I was on the DL. I came out, and through one of these sessions, I met a guy named Greg Beaumont, and he and I hit it off like that. And
okay.
Greg was a big time session guy. Played with Ozzy and
Oh, wow, okay.
just a lot of other people. But Greg was getting into digital sound design and cartoons. So one day, it was after like a demo I was working on. He's like, swing by the house. And then he's like, yeah, I got all these cartoons I'm doing now, like G.I. Joe and Sonic the Hedgehog. Those were big cartoons in the mid-'90s. He's like, do you want to help me out? Be my assistant sound designer? And I go, heck yeah. I mean, I didn't get no credit. Again, I was
Yeah,
ghost.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Ghosted, but he would pay me. He was paid really well.
yeah,
He'd pay me. And what I would do is, it's called spotting. I would watch the cartoons without sound. So without sound or obviously any
yeah.
music.
I
And
took a
I got
class
good
like
at the
that.
timing. And what I would do is I knew the library, his digital sound, sound library was huge. And what I would do is just down to the second, because it had SMPTE time code. I would watch the time like 5 seconds, walking down the street, a splat, or boom, a wham, or walking, running, slamming the door. And so that way, Greg, when he came in and watched it, he didn't have to like spot it. He could look at it and go, oh, okay, so I know here I'm going to need this sound.
Yeah,
Fly it into this session, and it was really efficient. And then one day he told me, he's like, hey, I got Pinky in the Brain. And I loved that show. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, can I get on it? And he's like, of course. So I worked like on Pinky in the Brain with him for years. I even did some Foley, Foley's in the Foley room where you make the sounds.
yeah.
For Pinky, because he walked kind of weird. Have you ever seen Pinky in the Brain? The little brain walks fast. Have you ever seen it?
Yeah, I've heard the
Okay.
cartoon.
And
Yeah.
Pinky's kind of like not all there. And I would do his footstep right here on my chest. We'd take a microphone. I'd watch and go.
Now this was way before
This is
You
in the
know,
'90s.
sending tracks to this is you actually had to go to the rehearsals and go to the practices.
We went to the studio.
Yeah, to the studio.
Oh,
This was
yeah, that
way
was
this
Warner
is
Bros.
like yeah, this was in the 90s where you actually went to a studio.
Oh, there were studios. Yeah,
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 not
yeah.
like let
ten
me send you
thousand
these
dollars a
parts and
day.
send it over here and then let me send you this and send you that.
No,
Yeah,
no. This was, you're going to Devonshire Studio, you're going to Skywalker Sound, you know, you're going over there, Burbank, a lot in Burbank. Yeah,
yeah,
big studios. And then once we got into a lot of post production, they had their own post production. They call them suites.
yeah,
You know, with a Foley room. You know, Greg had his room. The boss had his room. Everyone's got their cool ass big monitors and
yeah.
all their digital sounds. And yeah, nowadays, you know, there's some guy in his living room. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Back then, you went to
I mean, I get it. You know, it cuts down studio costs and it cuts
well,
down
the big
sending tracks to
but
a musician and he
yeah.
records his tracks and then he sends it. But it's still nothing like getting in a room and jamming, man.
Oh God, yeah, it's big studio like
Just having a jam
the
session.
Village Recorder in West LA. You know, like whoa, like
Yeah,
big,
yeah,
like
yeah,
10,000 a day plus rooms. You know, with the faders and this and the mic booths and this. But towards the end of the '90s, we noticed that the PC, personal computer, became really big, and you know,
Gee, I wonder why.
yeah. And then next thing you know, the studio's money started going
Yeah, yeah,
PC sales, and you know, Pro Tools,
yeah,
Logic, Reason. Just dudes were doing the whole thing in their living room.
yeah.
So nowadays, studios are pretty much, you know,
I mean, unless you're doing like
unless it's like a huge act and they want to do that. But you know, nowadays people have their home studios all dialed in.
yeah. I
They
mean,
just do it out.
unless you're doing like motion pictures and stuff, then yeah.
Yeah,
You're doing
exactly.
scoring, then you
With
have to go.
orchestras and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
then you pretty much have to go. But
Or
yeah,
the bigger sign bands will still go into a studio. But
yeah,
it's not like the 80s and the 90s, the Wild West, you know,
yeah.
just, you know.
So
Yeah, I saw that. And then,
you play with a
and
lot of
then
people, man. I mean, your resume. If I was someone that wanted to hire you, well, show me your resume. Be like, wow,
yeah,
So you
I
got a
also played with,
you got a pretty good resume.
I did a lot of live work too, like in clubs. Like I played BB King's Club,
Yeah.
Universal City Walk. I played there on Mondays because the drummer would sub out to me. And then I played Sundays over at Universal Studios, Universal Bar and Grill, Bar
Okay.
Universal Studios. That was, and then I worked with a guy named Charlie Lopez. He called himself Rustapeak, and he started Rust and the Superheroes.
Okay.
And I played with them, but he and I kind of always almost like butted heads. And plus, I
Really?
was working with Greg a lot. But then he left, and he became part of Crazy Town.
Okay.
Remember that song, The Butterfly?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He was part of the Crazy
Yeah.
Town. He eventually died. He had his
Wow.
demons, you know. Unfortunately, you know, rest in peace.
Yeah.
But I once I went with Beaumont. I worked, like I said, with Mitch Baker for a while, but he passed away.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, he had a condition. But he really got me into like farming me out to different
Yeah.
guys and hire him or work with him. And then unfortunately, he passed away. But then through working with Rusty, that's how I got the gig with some other bands. It's always like who you know or who you're going to meet back in the day. And that's how fortunately, I was ghost drumming on the session.
Yeah.
And, you know, for just some rock stuff. And then afterwards, you know, I was packing up. You know, they had their own drums, but I'd always bring my own snare and kick
Yeah.
and my own cymbals. You know, they had everything there, but I preferred my cymbals. And afterwards, you know, I'm walking out the door. But I hit it off with Beaumont. He was in the engineer booth. His friend was engineering. And he gets on the loudspeaker. He's like, "Hey, drummer, come in here." And I knew I did a good job. I know he wasn't going to fire me. So I'm like, oh. So I packed up, left my stuff on the door. And
So
it was an
when did you?
instant brotherhood. He goes, "Man, I really love the way you play drums.
Yeah.
Do you want to work with me?" And I go, oh, yeah, that's how you, back then you can meet people like
Yeah.
that. And once you were
Yeah.
working with someone, you just stay with that person.
So when did you go from being like a ghost drummer to actually just getting hired for gigs,
The
like
cartoons.
getting just paid some
Oh yeah, so I got out of
money?
school in '89. Went out of town to like the end of 1990 is when I started playing clubs,
Mhm.
and then that's when I met Mitch Baker. So, hey, come do a jazz date with me at this fancy club restaurant, or come do this date with me. And then he passed away, and then this band I was working with, I didn't see eye to eye with them. So one of the guys who hired us to play his club, he was Rusty, Charlie Lopez. He went in, he's like, hey, come work with me. And through him, he got me the gig to work with Beaumont. So it was back then, it was like that. And then so working with Beaumont was, so 91, 92, 93, I was with like Mitch Baker and Rusty, playing the clubs, playing the demos. And around the end of 93, 94 is when I met Greg. And he and I stayed together till 2001. He unfortunately passed away from cancer in 2001. And by that time, the studios were on the down.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
homes, PCs
yeah,
were
yeah,
on the way up. Hollywood was becoming a ghost town.
yeah,
Record labels didn't want to pay the 10 grand plus a day for the studio.
yeah.
And so I was really bummed with Greg's passing. So I took like a year off. Didn't
Okay.
even touch my drums. Just just did stuff. And
Yeah.
I would play here though or something. And then all of a sudden in like 2001, Kevin Cronin from REO Speedwagon.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, REO Speedwagon,
Yeah.
Kevin
Yeah.
Cronin, singer. His son, I was in playing with this band in LA. I had been friends with them all through the 90s. And they were, some of the dudes were friends with Beaumont. And Paris is like, well, I'm playing with this new band, but I really need some lessons. He was a great drummer. He just wanted a little polish. So I go, yeah, bro, I'll teach you. And,
Yeah.
he's like, hey, I know how I can pay you. I got this big Akai mixing board that my dad used to use in REO Speedwagon.
Yeah.
I'll give it to you for lessons. I said, yeah. Went ahead, sold that for thousands.
Okay.
So he got his allotment of lessons, and I just got really into teaching.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
inspired me, and then other dudes, his friends, would say, hey, Pete, can you come over to my house and give me lessons? So finally, I started getting more and more, and then my friend was teaching. He's like, hey, I got too many. You want to take some of mine?
Yeah.
So I just started building up students, and teaching.
Yeah. I was gonna say that was my next now that you got a household name for yourself, being playing in different
Yeah,
projects. I was gonna say once you graduated from PIT, you did all your gigs and so forth. And then you took a break. When did you come back? You started teaching a little bit. Started
2001,
building up.
I got into
Okay.
teaching.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
moment Greg had died, unfortunately, and I was sick of living in Hollywood. I fortunately was fortunate enough to buy a townhouse in Studio City.
Okay.
Really nice townhouse I got for a good deal. It was right under Universal Studios, cool Studio City. I loved living there, but I was getting sick of LA and Hollywood. And then,
It's almost like right now.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I don't even recognize
I gotta
LA.
throw
It's
it
like
out there, man.
LA, like right now, is Escape from New York,
It's
man.
it's
Escape from
almost like that now. Getting sick of LA.
Escape from
That's why
LA.
everybody's moving out here.
So I was able to sell my townhouse for a really good profit, and I'm from Ventura County. Well, I'm born in LA, lived in the Valley, San Fernando Valley, but grew up in like Thousand Oaks, Ventura, out in Ventura County. My brother passed away in 2004, and that's when I sold my condo. I'm like,
Yeah.
I took it really bad, and I didn't want to be around LA and Hollywood and all
Yeah.
that scene anymore. And the market was going crazy in like 2005. So I was able to sell my townhouse and made like over 100,000, paid off all my bills, made over 100 grand.
Yeah.
And I was able just to I've always liked Ventura, by the beach. If you
Yeah.
know where Ventura is.
Yeah.
It's about 20 minutes north of Thousand Oaks. It's about 25 minutes outside of LA,
Okay. Yeah.
Valley,
Yeah. Yeah.
up by the beach. I always loved it there, and just got a really nice 1 bedroom. And then just started teaching there, teaching,
And
teaching.
see, back then things were a lot more reasonable.
Oh,
Back
yeah, and
then.
I was making like $50, $60 an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
People would pay $60 an hour,
Yeah.
to for private, or for cool people. I do, just give me 50. But I was you make good money teaching, and then it's just really easy. And back then they didn't have the internet, so I would go to different people's houses.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
just go
Yeah.
to their
Yeah.
houses, make
Yeah.
house calls.
Yeah.
So that's why. And
Yeah.
I had some people that would give
The
me the
price.
60. They'd
The
give me
price
my
is in the
60.
gas. The gas is
What's
in the
that?
price. I said the gas is in the price.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
what you charge.
They
Yeah.
would tip me, and then teaching, and um, then in about 2012, I met my girlfriend, beautiful Chief Am. She's from Orange County. I'd been to Orange County maybe a handful of times. When you're an LA cat, you don't really leave LA. Like
Yeah.
you're in your own world
Yeah.
over there. I'd
That's
ventured out to like Huntington Beach a couple times, and I'm like,
yeah.
oh, this is cool. But I really like the city and the LA thing. But after my brother died and living up in Ventura, because Ventura's a small beach town, really beautiful, I got used to like the beach mellow life because I've always liked living by the beach. And so I met my girlfriend, and we were together for about 8 months. And she goes, "Why don't you come move down to Orange County with me?" And I said, "Let's go. Let's do it." So I went from Ventura down here to
What
beautiful
a
Orange County.
what a persuasion.
I love it. So that was about 2013, 2014. And then I was still, I gradually had a couple students down here. I had to build a little base up. But then 2015, I went to a place called Orange County
Yep.
Music Conservatory. Orange County Music
Yep.
Conservatory. And that's where we met.
That's where we met.
We were
Yep.
teaching for Anna
Yep.
Fan.
2002. That was good school,
That was about 2014,
Yeah,
2015.
somewhere around there. 20, I think I started in because I was at Yamaha for
Yeah, you were at Yamaha.
well, at Yamaha 2010 to yeah. And I was still
Yeah,
doing
it was 2014 because
yeah,
I remember because I'd lived down here for about a year,
yeah, yeah.
getting acclimated, and I fell in love with Orange County. I love living here. And we worked there for Anna,
Yeah.
and then from there, you were with me. One of the teachers there, Kevin, he
Yeah.
needed a substitute. This is how it always works. He needed a sub, and I've always been used to being a
I
sub.
know, dude.
And
I
he needed a
remember.
sub because his band was touring for the summer. So we went to Sunshine Music in Orange County, Irvine.
Yeah,
You were
that was
with
in
me.
Irvine. Yeah. That
Yeah.
was in Irvine. Yeah.
And I subbed for Kevin the months of, I remember it was a June and a July. And by then, I mean, people there have money, and the owner was fantastic about looking at, like, say the older sister played violin or piano, and he saw they had a younger brother. He goes, "Hey, why don't you take
Yeah.
drum lessons with this guy?" Next thing I know, his name was Leonard, really great guy. He filled up my schedule. I was teaching massive days. I was teaching like Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And
Yeah.
he was great about booking,
Yeah.
like, again, like I said, it's like, oh, your sister takes piano. And, little kids, so they'd go in the drum
Yep.
room, I'd give them a free lesson. Parents down there have money, and next thing I know, I'm teaching.
Yeah.
I had a ton of students, a ton of, Kevin still taught on Monday,
Okay.
but Leonard built a schedule around me because he and I hit it off, and he liked the way I taught. I liked the way he ran his
'Cause
business.
I think Kevin was leaving though, wasn't he?
Kevin was teaching less and less, so he just had his Monday.
Okay.
But then Leonard built a Wednesday, a Thursday, and
Yeah.
Saturday around me.
Yeah.
And he packed my schedule like none other. And then, drum roll, COVID hit,
Yeah.
and I lost everything.
Now, when
Crickets.
that happened,
OC Music's music
I think
conservatory
I don't
shut.
know. I don't think I think Anna had moved before.
Yeah, Anna had moved,
Yeah,
and I was getting less and less students from her,
yeah,
and then to the point where it didn't make financial
yeah,
sense to go work for her because
yeah. I
she
think
wasn't focusing on drums as much as piano.
it was more piano oriented. Yeah,
So that's
is
why I'm
that?
glad that I hooked up with Leonard.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like who you are. It's always settled. Like through my career, who did you meet? And they said this, and yeah. Because I'm just glad. And really, you were supposed to do that gig,
I
but
know.
you were
I was
busy.
too.
Leonard.
I was crazy busy, man. There's be no way
Yeah,
I could drive out to Irvine all the
yeah.
time.
That's what you said, and I go, I
Yeah,
can do it because
yeah,
I wasn't really into teaching for Anna anymore. I mean, she's a nice lady, but
yeah,
she wasn't
yeah,
focusing on drums, and it
yeah,
wasn't paying my bills. So Leonard made sense to
yeah,
drive from Huntington Beach to Irvine because he packed my schedule two like 1 to 8 Wednesday, 2 to 8 Thursdays, all day Saturday. You know,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, when
then
COVID
COVID,
when COVID hit, how
crickets, crickets.
did you do Zoom
I was really
lessons?
depressed because I went from making really good money with Leonard and Irvine and
Yeah.
whatever little students I had with Anna to nothing because they closed everything.
Well,
They
now,
closed.
but when COVID hit, everybody went online. Everybody was
Yeah.
doing
Why
Zoom.
eventually that's what I was going to get to. For the first couple of months, it's kind of bummed and feeling sorry for myself.
Yeah,
But then a couple of parents from that I had with Anna, especially younger kids, because I remember you didn't really like to teach younger kids, and I don't mind teaching younger kids.
yeah.
Their parents would
I'm
call me and
eight
say,
and up.
"Hey,
Eight and up is that eight is the lowest.
yeah,
Maybe six. That's about
I
as
would
low
mess
as
with
I could go.
6 and 7. I would teach 6 and 7,
Yeah,
and
that's
then
about
so
as
I
low as I could go.
started. I was fortunate enough to live in HB, where I had room to set up a little kit. I'm like, I'm going to do this online thing, and I had my
Yeah.
MacBook over here, and I had my little kit there. And the next thing I know, students' parents from Leonard and Irvine were calling me,
Okay.
calling, because I had a lot of students in Irvine. And then, so I went to where I am today. I have a lot of online students from that and from Anna. But then in about COVID was in 2020.
2020. Yeah.
2021, we moved up to Thousand Oaks to live with my
Okay.
mom for a while to take care of her. And she was better. We didn't want to go back to OC right away because she loved Ventura. She's like, hey, let's go move up to Ventura again and you can get your drums going. Because I was teaching online. And then one day I went down to Guitar Center in Oxnard, met this really cool cat, Johnny Contreras,
Mhm.
Johnny C, really great guy. And he auditioned me for a drum instructor position and hired me. So I was
He,
with
aud-
Guitar Center for
he
I was with Guitar
auditioned
Center
you?
for years.
He auditioned?
Yeah,
Why?
yeah.
You don't need, you should have
He
just
just
saw your
they
resume.
want to make sure you can play the different styles and
What?
read. He would
Well,
grab books off the shelf and go play this, play
so
this.
he wanted you to see if you could read, basically.
Oh yeah, yeah. And
Okay,
so I'm
okay,
like,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
that, yeah, I
Because
can
I'm
read this.
thinking, man, your resume would have been that would have been a
Yeah, no, he liked the resume, thank God. But he just wanted to see it because Johnny's a drummer.
yeah, yeah.
Johnny's actually a really good drummer, and before he got involved with Guitar Center, he had his own place just north of Orange County, right the border of LAOC, like Diamond Bar,
Okay,
where he had this lockout, and he would teach like 50 students a week. He was a grinder, man. So
yeah,
he knew about teaching. So,
yeah,
and now Johnny's a big wig with Guitar Center, just a great guy. But he got me going, and he gave me really good days at Guitar Center. He gave me like Friday, Saturday, and he was like Leonard too. He would go out and go, "Hey, your older kid's playing guitar with Alex. Why don't you go check out Pete teaching drums?" His
yeah,
parents were like, "Sure, I'm here anyways." So I built up my student list there. It was packed Mondays, Fridays, and Saturdays, and then I would teach online Wednesdays and Thursdays, and some
Now,
Sunday.
after you got you were on the honor roll at PIT, was there ever thought that you wanted to work at PIT?
Yeah, there was because my friend Ray Luzier, you may have
Oh
heard of him.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
He's in
yeah,
Corn
yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah. I know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ray's a drummer from Corn.
yeah,
He and I were in class together, and he became a teacher there. And
yeah,
I knocked into him one night at a club, and he's like, "Hey man," he's like, "Oh, I'm teaching at PIT." But then he left there to go play with David Lee Roth.
Oh, yeah.
And then from there, he played with the brothers from Stone Temple Pilot. They were in a band called Army of One or something like that. And then next thing I know, he's in Korn. He's been with Korn for like almost 20 years though.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a phenomenal. He's a phenomenal rock drummer.
Yeah.
He's just a phenomenal all-around drummer. So he don't really like jazz, but he knows he's like really rudimentally trained, and his rock chops are obviously real solid. He's with Korn.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did that night. I was talking to him. I'm like, oh, that would be cool. But then, I was just working, and, I would always go to the school because once you're a alumni, you can always go there and they'll give you tickets to show. Like one time I saw Ozzy when he was a private show with Zach Wilde when he was debuting something. And I took G, so I'd always go back to PIT and visit the teachers and hang out. And just watch it grow. When I went there, it was only guitar, bass, PIT. Yeah. And then they just started vocals, but now it's like everything in the world. It's like you can get a 2-year degree there, you can get a BA. The Recording Institute of Technology is there, Keyboard Institute. Yeah. And then they had our main building. They just bought other buildings around, Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah.
In Highland, right there, Hollywood and Highland. So, but I didn't want to teach a PIT, but then I got into my Greg Beaumont phase of doing the sound assistant sound design. But,
so now that you've worked for a lot of people, you taught at a lot of places. What's going on now? Are you still
I'm
still doing the home teaching, or you got students coming to you, or you still?
We moved back here to Orange County.
Okay.
So my girlfriend could be around her parents because her mom has a health problem, unfortunately. But I still have my students from back in Irvine, the couple from OC Music Conservatory, and then when I left Guitar Center, I got students from there, and then friends of friends of friends have told me, and then so I'm teaching online. I teach Wednesday, Thursdays, Tuesdays like my makeup days that people miss, but usually Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday I teach you.
So now are you doing in person, or you doing online?
No, I'm doing this right here.
Okay.
This is my living room in Huntington Beach, and got mine.
Now, I was going to say, as far as sound-wise, because I know I did some Zoom classes online, and we had to use pillows. And this was kind of like right after COVID, in 2021, and we had to use, because using acoustic drums, doing Zoom,
no. That's why that's why I've always had an electronic kit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can adjust the sound. Yeah. You can hear fine.
Yeah. So tell me about your kit there. What kind of kit you got? Electronic kit there?
I got a Simmons kit, and I got this when I was teaching at Guitar Center. But that's another great thing about teaching at Guitar Center. You get like insane deals on everything. Because Guitar Center is like huge. You get like average of 40% off stuff. So, but Guitar Center owns Simmons drums.
Okay.
And so since and I was teaching from them, I got this like 50%. I got a really good deal on this because you're kind of endorsed by them. They're like, that's part of the benefits of working for them. They're like, any gear you want. Like I got a bunch of Paiste because I love Paiste cymbals.
Yeah.
I got my cymbal game going because again, I was getting 40-something% off. Actually, I have a couple of Jeff Accaro's Paistes here.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was working in Hollywood.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine, he was actually my first drum student. His brother-in-law was a recording engineer, world famous guy. And him and Jeff Accaro were good friends. And, Jeff was sponsored by Paiste. And he was doing a session, and him and Mike were good friends. And he's like, I'm going to tell the guy not to pack up the cymbals. He's like, you want those cymbals in there, Mike? And Mike was, Mike was he was self-taught drummer. He's like, yeah. So we got, Mike got crashes, a ride, some splashes, and some hi-hats from Jeff. And he gave them all to my brother-in-law because he loved my brother-in-law. because my brother-in-law would give him lessons. So my brother-in-law kept like the crash, the ride, the other splashes. And then I got this crash and I got another splash.
Okay.
That were all used by Jeff Licaro. So Jeff's in here with me in spirit, I was using this, but I didn't really want to, I liked it more just to have it around me. Fortunately, I still play Paiste. I was able to just get a really great collection of Paistes. I like the Formula 602s and the signatures.
Okay.
So I got some really nice gear, some nice power ride. I got some signature hi-hats, 602 crashes, some 602 all Paiste splashes. I just love them to death. And I really wanted a Yamaha kit because I play Yamaha acoustic drums. I know you taught at Yamaha,
Okay.
so you know all about Yamaha.
Yeah.
But teaching at Guitar Center and them on in Simmons, it made perfect sense. I got this for a song and a dance.
Okay.
It's a great kit. I mean, you can hear it.
Yeah. Now, do you teach different genres of music, or do you like teach just jazz or?
Yeah, I even got into rudimental drumming.
Okay. Yeah. See?
Yeah. So I have a couple students that
He's bringing back the marching stuff.
Yeah. Triplets.
See, if I tried that out, if I tried doing that, I'd drop a stick.
Flam triplets. One-handed triplets. Doubles. Just playing. So I have a couple students, and that's nice. I can put my practice pad there, get my marching sticks. But
that's the thing, man. I never really got into marching. I played sports, so
I love them because you can get a lot of cool. You don't always have to single stick.
So it pays to get a electronic kit for home.
Yeah, you see how you can hear that?
Yeah.
I've got a mic up, acoustic drums, turn on the drum brain, and I got a really good Simmons amp over there for a song and a dance.
Okay.
So I got all Simmons gear in here. So
now, when you're teaching, do you prepare your students for like auditions or bands, or do you have like a referral person that, hey, I got a student of mine he's ready, he's give him an audition? I mean, how does that, do you have that type of
Yeah, a lot of students I teach, I have a lot of books. Like this is the Guitar Center book.
Yeah.
I like teaching out of their books. But I got a lot of other books I teach out. I teach out of rudimental books.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, the younger kids, I really like to get them into rudiments and stuff and apply it into the drum set, like a paradiddle.
Yeah.
That's a paradiddle drum fill. Left, right, left, left, left.
Yeah.
That's a paradiddle beat. Right, left, right, left, right. So just get them into rudiments, and then to answer your question, to get them used to playing with bands.
Yeah.
What's your favorite song? Let's do it. I got a stack full of charts over there. Just whatever song they want to learn. My better kids love the Foo Fighters. I've got every Foo Fighter chart over there.
Okay.
Yeah, Everlong's a hard song,
Yeah. Yeah. Now, do a lot of your students do they use drum kits, acoustic kits, or electronic kits?
It's a mishmash.
Okay.
Acoustic kits, drum kits. But I'll say, what's your song? And then I got this one kid, he loves System of a Down. So,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Just so kind of like songs that I would never play,
yeah,
I'm having to learn, which I love.
yeah.
So, and then that really gets their chops going. And then my student who loves the Foo Fighters and System of a Down, he's now playing with kids in high school. They do the dance. They just did the end of the year send off for summer. And he
Okay.
was stoked. He got to play up there in front of the whole school, mic'd up
Yeah.
kid. His dad's stoked. He's like, yeah, you taught all
Cool.
those songs. He's like a little prodigy. He's 13 and he's
That's cool, man. Don't you love that when you
yeah,
see?
he started with me he was 10. And it was the
Yeah,
same thing. His sister was taking guitar at Guitar Center. And then Johnny and then the other lessons lead loved to get me work, so to speak.
yeah,
They go, hey, while Evelyn's in there playing guitar, send Henry in there for free drum lessons, see if he likes it.
yeah, yeah.
Henry started with me as 10. He's 13 now. He's a beast. He
I mean,
can play
don't
all the
you?
charts. He actually just played the chart for Rosanna
Yeah,
by
yeah.
Toto. And that's
Okay.
hard.
Yeah,
I mean, that's no joke. That's a straight up Jeff Picasso shuffle.
yeah,
And then I have a couple other kids that are now in high school. They love playing songs too. So just that gets them ready, like to answer your question, play with bands.
yeah,
It
yeah,
builds their confidence. It gets them
yeah,
used to a song, like all the components of a song, the intro, the verse, the chorus, the bridge,
yeah,
dynamics.
yeah.
So yeah, to answer, because then they go, like this guy Henry, he's playing with all the kids at school. They play the
Okay.
talent shows, the dances.
Yeah.
So
He's the
his
main.
parents are,
He's the main guy that
and he's
they
fortunate.
call.
His dad works for DW Drums,
Okay.
and his mom works for DW Drums.
Wow. Don't.
So I figure by the time he's 18, he'll be sponsored by DW. So
Yeah. Don't you love that
I call him the 13-year-old pro. He's
don't you love
13.
that when you have either present or former students continue and you see them progress and they're playing in
Yeah,
bands and
because I'm not really on social media, but to answer your question,
yeah.
yeah, I even saw Paris Cronin, Kevin Cronin's son, his cool gig that he's doing in Hollywood now.
Okay.
So it's like, oh yeah, I taught that guy, really cool
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah.
I'd met Kevin a couple times just over the years. He actually lives out by my mom in Thousand Oaks, and
Okay.
just bumped into him in place. And he's like, "Oh, you taught my son Paris." I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool."
Yeah. You see
And then,
the fruits of it.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and
good.
then yeah, but to answer your question, it's like a lot of these kids started with me when they were 6, but I've been teaching so long now. It's like, dang, you're 14, you're 15, you're
Yeah.
graduating from high school,
Yeah.
you're this.
I started in 2004 when I lived overseas.
Oh,
And and then I came back here and started in
so you got with the
2007.
Yamaha. You went with the Yamaha right
Well, I
away,
was
right?
with a Russian school and then
Oh yeah.
some other smaller schools and then, the Yamaha and then Hana and her OCC and then kind of did some private stuff and then went to School of Rock and so
Oh yeah, you were.
I tried to get you
Oh yeah,
I,
yeah.
I
I was too
tried to get
busy.
you into School of Rock,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
It did. I got my schedule going. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
I wish
man.
I could just go over there and sub without it, but they would be too formal. I'd have to fill all the paper.
Yeah, yeah. It's a great
But
school, man. It's
aren't you? Now let me interview for one second. Aren't you like moving up the ladder with them?
I honestly, I'm taking a break from teaching for a while because I've been,
Oh, I thought you were going to work for their corporate.
no, I want to do a franchising.
Oh, that's what it is.
That's the goal. Yeah, that's the goal that I'm trying to reach is do a franchise School of Rock. My problem is I just don't know where that would be, what state. Can't be in California.
Why?
Hey, no way, dude.
Oh, there's too many of them
It's
already.
too many plus the taxes and every other thing. Just name it. Naming it, there's a no.
Are
So
they?
I'm either looking, if I go back to North Carolina, I know there's a few in North Carolina. There's like one in Charlotte, I think. And then I'm looking at maybe other states that don't
Texas?
have School of Rock.
So
or even
Texas is
even
Texas.
maybe even another country. I know they just started. I know they opening up a few in Germany. I just saw on their newsletter website that they're opening up some School of Rocks in Germany. So, maybe I gotta learn German. I learned Russian.
They're mainly in California, I know, all over the
I
place.
think I forgot where
But
it's based out of, but yeah, I think the corporate office is back east. I think.
now there's two here just in Orange County. Isn't there one in Costa Mesa?
There's four School of Rocks in Orange County. There's
Dang.
Tustin, Huntington, which is the one I was at.
Yeah, you're with
And then there's
Costa Mesa?
well, yeah, Santa Ana,
Yeah.
School of Rock in Santa, and then there's one in Rancho Santa Margarita.
Isn't there
So
one in Costa Mesa?
no, that's it's considered. I think Huntington will probably be in between.
Connington for sure, because I used to
Yeah,
live across
I
the
think
street.
you're thinking about Music Factory
Oh,
right
yeah.
there off of. Yeah,
I
that's
think it's called Rock School or something like that.
yeah. Rock
Yeah,
School.
they're
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
school. Oh, I got you.
Yeah, I think that was either Music Factory or Rock School or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
for
so
right
you would
now,
you?
I'm thinking about going back maybe in January. Let's see.
Oh, you're just not even teaching.
I'm not teaching right now. I'm just taking a break, man, because doing the whole 20 years, dude. I mean, it's a grind. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, I loved it, but
over 20 years you've been teaching.
2024 was 20 years.
Oh, I
'Cause I
got you.
started in Russia in 2004.
Oh, four. So you had a two
Yeah,
decade.
so I was teaching over there in Russia for, the time I was there.
Oh
That
yeah,
was
yeah,
my
yeah.
first time teaching over it, first time teaching it at all.
What about Germany? When was Germany? After.
Germany, it's a school, some School of Rocks may be opening in Germany.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
But you're
no,
not. You're open to move out of Cali.
I'm open to, yeah, I'm thinking about getting either back home to North Carolina or another state.
What about like Texas and Florida? Do they have School of Rock?
Oh yeah, they got School of Rocks all over the world.
Oh
But
yeah.
franchises are big, man. I mean, they it's just here, it's just over flooded, dude. I
And the
mean, it's just
taxes and the
crazy. And the
cost of
taxes,
living.
it's no way I would want to do a business here. Are you kidding
Yeah,
me?
I got you. I got you. I
I
got you.
mean, I'm sorry for anybody that loves California and go, oh, it's the greatest. Business wise, oh no, no. And the
Yeah,
thing is, some of these schools have already been established before everything got crazy, so they're
yeah,
pretty much, 10, 15 years in. So they're
yeah.
established. But if you to do a new one here, in my opinion, I think
Oh yeah, that would be.
it would be very hard, I
Yeah,
mean, it doesn't have to be a school of rock. I think just a music school in general. It would
yeah.
be difficult with the rent, the cost of the building, and oh my gosh, dude.
Taxes,
Oh, that in itself,
property taxes. Yeah.
that in itself alone would be like, no, I don't think so.
You got the other gigs still though, right? You do.
Yeah, yeah, I still, I have playing at church and stuff like that, and
Are you playing? Yeah.
mainly just percussion. Sometimes I fill in for the other drummer when he's gone, but I'm trying to get my dude. I'm trying to get my drum instructional book out. So I've
Oh, yeah,
been
yeah, yeah,
working on
yeah.
that for the past. That's been a 6 year project though, because I'm want to do.
Yeah, I remember you told me about that.
Yeah, because I'm trying to do animation with it.
Oh,
So
nice.
I may be calling you about it, and hey, bro,
Oh,
need your expertise here.
yeah, yeah. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You told me about that.
I kind of pushed it off for a while, and then got the niche to start it back up. So yeah,
Time flies. Yeah, I can't believe it's already been 5 years since COVID. It's been
yeah.
about that long since we both worked for Anna.
Yeah. But I wanted to ask you this, and I said we talked earlier before we got into the interview about program drums
Uh,
and it's been a big pet peeve of mine that I see these guys with the laptops, and I'm not, I get it. It's cheaper to do it that way. It's cheaper to create a beat. But look how long it takes you to create a beat. You got to
Yeah,
find
I
the
did a
right
little
kick. You got to
program.
find the right snare instead of hiring a drummer for what you want to do and
But
pay.
nowadays that's expensive because you got to get them down there, get the kit, mic it up,
So
hire, pay them.
what's your take on
I
these
did a little
drum
programming in
programs?
like 95, 96. I did a little for some people. And being a drummer, it just wasn't the same. I mean, it was kind of quote unquote fun, but it's just really different. And I mean, the sounds, I'm used to the organic sounds, but I could see it for like the hip hop
Yeah,
because that's the way the music is. But yeah, for the rock, like you're saying, and the pop, a lot of pop stuff, it just sounds really stale. It's like you can tell it's not a drummer, and it's like,
well, I think nowadays they got programs out there now that you can't tell the difference.
yeah, I was just gonna say there are some
Yeah,
some sound packages, but they're
yeah,
made by a pro drummer in a studio,
yeah,
and then you buy the package
yeah,
because
yeah,
they'll
yeah,
do a bunch of rock, bunch of soul, bunch of funk,
yeah,
bunch of R&B, whatever style, rock, hip hop, and then you're getting those tracks.
yeah.
But it's just music's changed so much, especially in the last couple of years with the YouTubes and the Spotify, and everyone's a singer, and
Yeah.
everyone got a little PC in their room, and
See,
then
that's what I was saying earlier. Nobody has jam sessions anymore.
no, no.
It's like those days, I mean, it's like,
People are, and especially since COVID, everyone's like an island, you know. And like those sessions you were hitting on earlier, it's like, well, I'm gonna do the drums here in California. I'll zip drive the files out to New York, and then get them out to Texas where the guy's playing bass,
yeah,
and shoot them to Seattle because the guy's on keyboards,
yeah.
you know.
And I get it. Like I say,
Or
I
even
get it.
across town, send
Yeah,
them from Burbank
yeah.
to LA to Hollywood to.
And of course, during COVID, everything was virtual, you know. And
But
there's still
music,
some,
music in general is just not the same. I mean, we grew up with music like
yeah,
60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and then around the 2000s, blah 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 blah. I mean, I still like bands like I love Tool. I just saw them recently, and
okay,
I guess the bands like the Foo Fighters. But other than that, you got like Selena Gomez's and Taylor Swift's and just boy bands and Bruno Mars, and just not really like heartfelt rock. I
yeah,
feel like has gone away because all the kids want to get into hip hop
yeah.
or you know
What do you think about
shoegazing music.
what do you think about the AI music? What do you think about AI? You think it's taking a drummer job? I always I said, man, I got to get my chops up, man, because AI is gonna like take my
No, no doubt, man. No doubt.
AI is gonna like forget you, man. I got
Get you, man.
what do you think
Dude,
about AI in the music
AI
industry?
is scary, bro. It's like,
You think it's hurting? You think it's hurting, or do you think it's
I think it's going to hurt eventually because it's like that thing is going to, because it's going to have facets of all the world's greatest drummers in it. It's going to have some Vinny, some Weckl, some Stuart Copeland, some Neil Peart, some John Bonham, some Keith Moon. It's going to be a cyborg, literal, technically machine.
yeah.
But yeah, I think, and it's just music just doesn't feel the same. It's like really, it pops just so big now.
Do you think it's just here? Because I've been hearing the negativity about here in the U.S. compared to other countries. Do you think it's
Well, they
just
love they love the electronic music and the poppy stuff.
yeah? But I mean, do you think it's just in the U.S. that it's or in other countries it's still old school, old fashioned type of thing, which I do believe. I do believe it's
Well, there are throwback bands these days like what is it, Greta Van Fleet. I mean, I don't really listen to them, but I know they're all playing their own instruments
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
really singing. And I alluded to Tool. I love Tool.
yeah,
But it just not much music really gets me going these days.
yeah.
You know, as far as It just feels like there's just, and then there's so many genres now. It's like,
I know.
I mean, subgenres of pop and this,
Yeah.
where they just want a drum machine going,
Yeah. Yeah.
or,
Yeah.
you know, or just, you know, I know the nightclubs, the bar bands are still making money because
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
playing all the hits from the
And,
60s, 70s, 80s,
I mean,
90s too.
I mean, even the club scene right now is, I don't know how, I don't know, but from what I've been hearing, it's not that good either.
No,
You
no.
know?
That's another thing. This electronica, so these raves, these kids go to them. That's music. Let's look, watching one guy up there with two laptops. To them, that's music.
I
They're
know.
like, they don't know what a band is.
I
And then
know.
this Coachella, you know, this.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
granted, sure, rock bands still play at Coachella, but and then the hip hop's so big these days. Kids love
Yeah.
hip hop. But there are some cool hip hop beats that I hear because you can tell it's a real drummer because those hip hop drummers really shred. You know, those
Yeah.
guys with the gospel chops.
But see, that's why, when we grew up, funk, old school funk,
Yeah,
Ohio players, Earth, Wind and Fire, Kool and
yeah,
the Gang. I mean, you listen to
yeah.
that stuff, man. That's locking into the groove
You
there.
know, this
You know,
time,
you can't you can't program that stuff.
yeah, because the feel. You know, you got the.
You know, yeah. I mean, even disco, but still.
Oh, yeah, it's good.
So
Yeah, it doesn't feel as organic as it once was. You know, but
yeah, yeah,
we're 50. You know, I'm 58 now, so
yeah,
I'm glad I got to see all the 70s and 60s and
yeah,
the 80s and the Iron Maidens and the
yeah,
Police and because again, it's like kids music dominates. It feels like, and by kids I mean like the Taylor Swifts and the hip hop and then the electronica stuff. Oh, let's some people I talk to, brothers and sisters of students or just my girlfriend's sons or their friends. Some people only know the electronica or only know going to a rave and
yeah,
that kind of music, or only know the hip
yeah,
hop
yeah, yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
They only know that. They're like, what's a Led Zeppelin? The Police, they're
yeah,
chasing people down now.
yeah.
No, I mean the Police, the band.
Ozzy, Black Sabbath, who?
Uh, so
The
it's
who?
yeah. So it just seems music. Kids these days can go their whole life without really listening to a band of
Yeah,
five guys, whatever. They only know the electronica, the hip hop, the rap, or these raves that the kids go to, and they just
yeah.
take whatever they take and just watch speakers for 4 hours, or a guy up there, like I said, with three laptops.
But you still got, the kids today, and I think that's one of the reasons why Motley Crue kind of went back on tour because of that movie. And now they just they went
I
back
know
on
that,
tour
yeah.
last summer, from that
I know a
movie.
lot of the bands from the '80s, like Rats, Steve Pearson,
Yeah,
still playing a
yeah.
lot.
They're still
He
Steve
was
Pearson.
playing.
He's
He
still
got back.
going on, man. He's
Yeah, he
still
got back
singing.
together with Warren D. Martini, the
Yeah,
original
yeah, yeah, yeah,
guitarist. So
yeah,
I know like George Lynch. A
yeah.
lot of the '80s dudes are still playing, which is
They're
cool.
still
Good to
playing.
see.
Yeah,
You know,
they're going
uh,
to the crew.
Guns N' Roses. They just got a
Yeah.
new drummer. Guns N' Roses got a new drummer, and
So
Foo
I,
Fighters.
I would say,
They still play
I
rock.
mean, you still got bands out there that are still going, and the parents are bringing their kids and the
Their music.
grandkids. So, you know,
Sometimes it's even grandpa's music. The '60s, '70s funk,
yeah,
total soul. RV,
yeah.
or like the
Pete,
Zeppelins.
Pete, man, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you coming on, taking the time,
Oh, you're welcome. No, it's
telling
great
your
talking to you.
your history. You got a lot of it,
It's
and
great to see you. We got to get together for a hang real soon.
yeah, for sure,
We'll
man.
go over to Zuby's. You ever eaten at Zuby's? I
So,
like their
I
food.
mean, I got one last question for you. If
Yes,
somebody
sir.
wanted to get into just, let's just say, well, drums, since we talking about drums, or just music in general, what encouragement can you give them as far as the steps to take? Not necessarily like, oh, I want to make it to be a drum star or rock star. Just some encouragement, because there's a lot out there, and especially doing what you're doing, teaching. There's a lot of online teaching, as
And what
well.
I would say is, definitely get yourself a kit. Acoustic kits are better if you can, if you do have a house with a garage. But what I see, and you're going to say, practice, 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 practice. I get some students that they don't practice,
Yeah.
I can't hit them on the wrist like the old school moms for not doing their work, but I'll have some students working on the same thing for 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
But then I have a handful of kids that really practice. Some are older, like 30s, 40s, but I have some young kids. Usually the young kids who don't practice.
Yeah.
But I would say practice, learn your rudiments, practice, 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 practice. Just practice. A lot of kids don't, and I'm sure you've seen that from teaching.
Oh yeah.
You can be on the same lesson for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But then I have some kids who every week they plateau up, new lesson, new stuff, new stuff. Take it seriously. Some people just want to play drums to meet the girls, but just take it seriously. And I can't say that word enough. Practice, lock yourself away, and don't just practice for the 20 minutes 2 times a week, whatever they say. Really get into it. Really know the drums. Start listening to music, any music you like. Play along to it. Put your headphones on, play it through the speakers.
Yeah.
Play along to it. That's what all I did. I used to put Led Zeppelin records on, play along, Police records, Rolling Stone records, Iron Maiden records, and just play it along, because that is the real. You're getting perfect time coming at you.
Yeah.
So if you can get used to playing with those, then meet people. Sure, in like 6th grade, you don't really meet people, but once you start getting 7th, 8th grade around other kids, high school for sure, it's like, hey, bro, I play guitar. Oh, hey, dude, I play bass. Well, I'm singing. Well, let's go over to your house and let's practice.
Let's jam.
Let's jam. Let's practice. Let's do it. Let's do it. But take it seriously and put the work in.
Drumless tracks are good too.
Yeah. I love that nowadays. We didn't have those when we were kids.
You can create your own rhythm pattern, and they have metronomes that you could,
Yeah, I have one kid who plays with drumless.
Yeah, but drumless tracks, that's what I use, because it trains your ear.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
A lot of my kids, it's their first time playing, so they'll play along with the drums. But the kids who are advanced, I absolutely use the drumless.
Those tracks,
are phenomenal.
Yeah. I mean, I even still jam off of them.
That's the way to go.
Create a lot of stuff with just drumless tracks, dude.
It's like you got the real band in there with you.
Yeah, you just putting your own
perfect time. And you can change with the playing if you want to.
Yeah,
just for fun. Exactly. You can play it the way it is.
Yeah,
you play it with your own little flair. It's always cool to add your own little flair.
Yeah,
take ideas from different drummers
because you're being creative.
Yeah. Different teachers, different drummers, Sometimes even the guitarists will go, no, it'd be cool if you just played,
Yeah.
Listen to, bandmates, listen to, and practice and really,
That's good advice, man, and I can't wait to see, your students in the future in bands.
Oh, yeah. There's a couple. One of my guys who I taught drumline to, in 9th grade, he made the varsity drumline. And in that high school in Irvine, no freshmen's ever made the varsity team. He made the varsity drumline.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
His beats are sick. Yeah. He knows rudiments really well and marching, but then he knows playing with bands because he plays Toto Rosanna. He plays Everlong by Foo Fighters. He plays Toxicity by System of a Down. These are all tricky songs.
Yeah.
I don't care how old you are. This guy's 13.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, he's a little monster, but he practices.
Yeah.
He takes it serious. Yeah. Just like my other 13-year-old. He takes it serious. He practices. And I just got him into playing along the marching books.
Thanks for promoting the shirt there. Thanks for
Yeah,
taking it out of
yeah.
thanks for taking it out of the closet and dusted it off.
Yeah, dude, I love it. Represent. Represent. I love it.
So
That was great talking to you. We'll have
yeah,
to
bro.
get together soon.
I'm glad we
Definitely.
got a chance to finally do this after
No, I'm glad we caught up
years
because
of cancellations and postpone.
yeah, different things going on. Yeah, yeah, and it's good luck to you with franchising. But I'll see you in person here pretty soon.
Yeah, we'll
We got
connect.
to get together
We,
and go hang.
we'll talk more on it. And hey, so yeah, we'll talk more about it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, bro. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, Corey, great seeing you.
Yeah, you too, man.
Have a great day.
Thanks for watching Power and Pounders on YouTube and Facebook. You can also listen to the podcast on Spotify. God bless.